What if everything you've ever believed about your life was holding you back? What if the limitations you feel, the fears that haunt you, and the doubts that whisper in your ear are not reality, but illusions created by a mind that has yet to be awakened? Right now, you might feel stuck, overwhelmed, or even invisible in the vastness of the world. You may be questioning your purpose, wondering if you are meant for more, yet feeling trapped by circumstances that seem permanent. That tension you feel in your chest, the restless energy you can't quite explain, it is not a sign that you are failing. It is a signal that something inside you is ready to rise. Something inside you is ready to break free from the ordinary, from the safe, from the life you thought you had to accept. Deep down, you know you are capable of more than this. You know there's a version of yourself that walks with confidence, makes decisions without fear, and accomplishes what others say is impossible. The difference between that person and the one you see in the mirror today is not luck. It is not talent. It is the way you allow a single idea to take root and grow inside you. One idea, when fully embraced, has the power to change everything. It can shift your perception so dramatically that your daily habits, your mindset, your entire approach to life transforms. That idea is not external. It is already within you, waiting for your permission to flourish. And when you allow it to take hold, you begin to see the world differently. Challenges become opportunities. Fear becomes fuel. Every setback becomes a lesson that propels you forward rather than a wall that stops you in your tracks. Imagine waking up each morning with clarity, purpose, and unstoppable momentum. Imagine feeling a fire in your chest that cannot be extinguished by doubt or failure. That is what this one idea can do for you. It is the key to unlocking a life where nothing is wasted, where every choice, every action, every thought is aligned with the person you are meant to become. Most people never experience this. They drift through life, waiting for circumstances to change, hoping someone will hand them their breakthrough. But you are not like most people. You are here reading this because something inside you refuses to settle for mediocrity. That inner voice, the one that whispers that life can be bigger, stronger, more meaningful, is speaking louder now. And if you choose to listen, if you choose to act, your life will never be the same. You are about to step into a new dimension of possibility, one that cannot be ignored, one that will challenge you, and one that will reward you with a life of extraordinary freedom and achievement. The moment you accept this idea, you take control, and nothing outside of you can hold you back. The truth is, most people live trapped in the comfort of small thinking, never realizing how much power they give away simply by believing they are limited. You tell yourself, I can't, it's too late, I'm not ready. And each time you reinforce a prison that exists only in your mind. That voice of doubt feels real because it has been reinforced by years of habit, by society, by the invisible weight of expectations that were never meant for you. But what if that voice is lying? What if it is not protecting you, but controlling you? Every breakthrough, every life-changing moment begins when you challenge the boundaries of what you have been conditioned to accept. When you stop living small, the world begins to respond differently. Doors you thought were closed swing open. People begin to notice the energy that comes from someone who refuses to settle. Opportunities appear because you are ready to act when others hesitate. You see, the mind has a remarkable way of expanding to match the size of your thoughts. When you allow yourself to imagine bigger, to believe that more is possible, your brain begins to scan for solutions, strategies, and pathways that were invisible when your vision was narrow. Growth starts with a single courageous thought. I am capable of more than this. That thought sparks action, and action becomes momentum. Momentum becomes transformation. The person you are today is not weak. They are untrained. They are conditioned to operate within limits that were never real. You have been living inside a box built by fear and doubt, but the walls crumble the moment you challenge them. Your life does not have to be a reflection of your past, your mistakes, or your setbacks. It can be a reflection of what you choose to create from this moment forward. Each time you resist small thinking, each time you refuse to let fear dictate your choices, you train your mind to expand. You teach yourself that discomfort is not the enemy, but the signal that growth is happening. The people who accomplish the extraordinary are not gifted with secret abilities. They are relentless in refusing the limits placed on them by their own minds. They ask, why not me, when the world says otherwise? They step into challenges that scare them because they understand that fear is a compass pointing toward what matters most. And that is the reward waiting for you, the freedom to think bigger, to act bolder, to live with a sense of possibility that most people never experience. You do not have to wait for perfect conditions. You do not have to wait for validation or permission. The moment you embrace the idea that your thinking determines your life, everything shifts. Small thinking loses its grip. Fear loses its power. You start moving in alignment with the life you were always meant to live. And once your mind expands, your actions, your choices, and ultimately your destiny follow in a trajectory you cannot ignore. The cage you once thought held you now lies in ruins, and in its place stands the limitless potential of a mind that refuses to settle. Right now, you have a choice. You can continue allowing life to happen to you, letting circumstances dictate your mood, your decisions, and your sense of worth. Or you can claim the role that has always been yours, the role of creator. The difference between those who live ordinary lives and those who leave a mark on the world is not luck, not talent, not timing. It is ownership. The moment you accept that you are responsible for every thought, every action, every outcome, you step into power that no external force can take from you. Victims see obstacles. Creators see opportunities. Victims wait for conditions to be perfect. Creators move even when fear and uncertainty loom large. This is not a theoretical concept. Psychology has proven that individuals with an internal locus of control, those who believe they can influence their outcomes, consistently achieve more, recover faster from setbacks, and experience higher levels of fulfillment. Believing in your power changes your brain chemistry. It strengthens your resilience. It rewires your perception of possibility. Every time you shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of creation, you activate energy that transforms stagnation into progress. You stop blaming the world and start designing it. Challenges no longer intimidate you because you recognize that no challenge is larger than your capacity to respond. Rejection, failure, criticism, all these forces that once seemed terrifying lose their hold over you. You understand that what matters is not what happens to you, but how you respond. Your thoughts, your choices, and your actions become the brushstrokes painting a life of your own design. You are no longer drifting, you are steering. You are no longer waiting, you are moving. And this shift, this decision to see yourself as the creator rather than the victim, is the single most important turning point in your transformation. It is what separates the life that happens to you from the life you deliberately construct. And the reward is profound clarity, confidence, and an unshakable sense of purpose that radiates into every area of your existence. When you act from creation rather than reaction, people feel it. Opportunities align around you. Energy flows through you instead of against you. You gain a perspective so powerful that even the smallest action compounds into momentum that cannot be ignored. Nothing outside of you can dictate your potential because you have reclaimed the authority over your mind and your life. The past does not define you. Your circumstances do not confine you. Every decision you make from this moment on is an act of creation, a statement that you will no longer be limited by fear, doubt, or the weight of external expectation. You are powerful. You are capable. You are the one who writes the rules of your existence. And once you embrace this, once you internalize the truth that you are the source of your life, you will realize that the only limits that ever existed were the ones you agreed to accept. Now it is time to refuse those limits. Now it is time to step fully into the power that is yours. Every thought you allow to dominate your mind has power. Every belief you choose to accept shapes the reality you experience. Right now, the question is not what the world will give you, but what you are giving yourself permission to believe. If you continue to accept the stories that limit you, stories of not being enough, of never having the right timing, of always falling short, you remain trapped in cycles of frustration and stagnation. But the moment you refuse those stories, the moment you decide to replace them with a truth that empowers, rather than confines, everything begins to shift. Your brain cannot tell the difference between what you vividly imagine and what is real. When you feed it clarity, courage, and certainty, it begins to seek opportunities to match those signals. Every step you take becomes intentional. Every choice becomes aligned with the vision you hold of yourself. The most successful, fulfilled people do not wait for motivation to strike. They create their own motivation by controlling the narrative inside their minds. They speak to themselves with authority, with expectation, with unwavering belief. This internal conversation determines their actions, which in turn shapes their lives. You have been given the same ability. You have the same power to sculpt your mind into a force that drives unstoppable momentum. The challenge is simple, yet profound. Are you willing to recognize that your beliefs either make you a prisoner or a master? The moment you internalize this, fear begins to lose its grip. Doubt becomes a tool, not a cage. Obstacles turn into proof that you are on the path that matters most. Neuroscience has proven that visualization, intentional focus, and repeated mental rehearsal physically change the brain, strengthening pathways that make action more natural, automatic, and effective. This is not abstract, it is biology. Your body, your mind, and your future are waiting for you to consciously guide them. Imagine approaching each day with an unshakable conviction that no challenge is too great, no setback too severe, and no dream too ambitious. Imagine the freedom of living in alignment with your highest potential, where every effort compounds, every action resonates, and every decision moves you closer to the life you are capable of achieving. That is the reward for taking control of your beliefs. That is the transformation waiting for you the moment you refuse to accept the limits imposed by others, the past, or even your own fear. The power to redefine yourself to create a new reality has always been within you. It is yours to claim. Every thought, every belief, every decision can either imprison you or set you free. Today, you have the chance to stop feeding fear and start cultivating strength, to stop accepting limitations and start demanding excellence, to stop drifting through life and start directing it. This is the moment when the invisible becomes tangible, when the mental becomes the material, when the life you always imagined becomes the life you finally live. Every choice from this point forward is an opportunity to reinforce your power, to expand your mind, and to step into the reality that you were always meant to create. The question is simple. Will you allow yourself to believe fully and unreservedly in the extraordinary power that lives inside you? Every moment you hesitate, every second you allow fear to dominate your choices is a moment stolen from the life you were meant to create. You feel pressure, you feel uncertainty, you feel the weight of possibility pressing against your chest, and that is exactly where transformation begins. Growth is never comfortable. Change is never gentle. The mind resists what it does not yet understand. Yet the very discomfort you feel is proof that you are alive, proof that you are on the edge of something greater than you have ever known. Most people shrink from this feeling. They retreat into routines that numb the mind and settle the heart, but not you, not now. The capacity to endure discomfort, to embrace challenge, to face fear head on is the gateway to power. When you step into that space willingly, when you decide that resistance will no longer dictate your actions, you discover a strength that cannot be measured by circumstance. Every limitation you have ever believed about yourself begins to unravel when confronted with unwavering commitment. Science shows that resilience is not innate, it is built brick by brick, choice by choice, action by action. Each time you confront fear and move anyway, you strengthen the pathways in your brain that make courage automatic. You teach yourself that discomfort is not the enemy, but the indicator that you are stepping into a life that matters. The life most people dream of is not reserved for the lucky. It is reserved for those willing to persist when the world and even their own mind tells them to quit. Your mind will test you. It will throw doubts, replay old failures, and whisper that you are not enough. That is not weakness. That is opportunity. The opportunity to respond differently, to act despite the fear, to redefine your identity with each choice. You are no longer the person who waits for the world to change. You are the person who changes the world around them, starting with the world inside. Every decision you make from this moment, every belief you allow to dominate your thinking, every action you take with intention compounds into a life of unstoppable momentum. You are capable of far more than you realize because the limits you feel are illusions. They exist only to be confronted and overcome. The extraordinary is not in avoiding pain, struggle, or discomfort. The extraordinary is in mastering them and using them as fuel to propel yourself higher than fear, stronger than doubt, and faster than hesitation. Imagine what it feels like to live without invisible barriers, to move with clarity, courage, and relentless purpose. That is not a fantasy. That is biology, psychology, and the truth of human potential. When you act in alignment with that truth, every moment becomes a step toward mastery. Every setback becomes a teacher. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to rise. The power you have been seeking does not lie outside of you. It has been inside you all along. What you choose to do with it today, right now, determines everything that follows. The question is no longer if you can succeed, but if you will stop letting fear stand in the way of who you are meant to become. Your future is not defined by your past. Every limitation, every failure, every moment of doubt has only prepared you for this exact moment, the moment when you realize that nothing outside of you can control your destiny unless you allow it to. You have been conditioned to believe that life happens to you, that circumstances dictate your potential, that luck or timing are the deciding factors. That is a lie. The truth is that your life is a direct reflection of your choices, your focus, and your willingness to act. Every thought you entertain, every belief you reinforce, every action you take compounds into the reality you experience. And the most powerful choice you can make is to take full responsibility for yourself. Responsibility does not mean blame. It means ownership. It means refusing to wait for permission, for conditions to be perfect, or for someone else to guide you. It means stepping into your power regardless of fear, doubt, or uncertainty. Science tells us that the most successful, resilient, and fulfilled people are not those who avoided setbacks. They are those who faced them head on, who saw obstacles as feedback rather than defeat, and who understood that every challenge is a training ground for the mind and spirit. When you take responsibility for your life, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You create the conditions for growth, mastery, and achievement. You transform adversity into fuel, setbacks into lessons, and discomfort into clarity. The world will test you, people will doubt you, situations will push against you, but every challenge you face is a mirror reflecting the areas where you are ready to grow. When you confront those challenges with courage and persistence, you are not only overcoming them, you are rewiring yourself to become unstoppable. Your thoughts become sharper, your decisions more deliberate, and your actions more aligned with the life you want. You begin to move through the world not as someone reacting to events, but as someone directing them. Your energy, your focus, your intentions become magnets for opportunity and progress. Imagine living each day with the certainty that you are capable, that you are in control, and that nothing can take away the power you have chosen to claim. That certainty is not wishful thinking. It is the natural outcome of disciplined, conscious action. Every time you accept responsibility, every time you refuse to blame, every time you step into action despite fear, you reinforce the neural pathways that make courage, resilience, and success automatic. The life you want is not waiting for you somewhere outside. It is already within you, waiting to be claimed. The only barrier is your willingness to own your power fully. Today, right now, you can decide that fear will no longer dictate your choices, that doubt will no longer dominate your mind, and that limitations will no longer define your path. The power to transform your life is yours to wield. Every moment you hesitate is a moment lost. Every choice you embrace is a step toward mastery, freedom, and the extraordinary life you are meant to live. Take it, own it, live it. Action is the bridge between who you are now and who you are capable of becoming. Thinking, planning, and dreaming are necessary, but they are powerless without movement. You may feel ready, you may feel inspired, but unless you take decisive action, nothing changes. Every extraordinary life is built on consistent, relentless effort that others overlook or dismiss as ordinary. The mind resists action because it fears the unknown, but courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward despite it. Each time you act in alignment with your highest vision, you train your brain to expect results, to recognize opportunity, and to overcome resistance. Neuroscience shows that repeated action creates neural pathways that make confidence, decisiveness, and persistence automatic. The more you do, the stronger you become. And strength compounds. Action fuels momentum. Momentum creates results. And results reinforce belief. But inaction breeds doubt, fear, and regret. The life you dream of will not arrive on its own, waiting for motivation to strike, waiting for conditions to be perfect, waiting for someone else to grant. Permission will only keep you trapped in the ordinary. The people who achieve The extraordinary do not wait, they act. They commit to the discomfort, embrace the uncertainty, and push past the resistance that holds most people back. Action is not always easy. It will test your patience, your courage, and your determination. But every step you take, no matter how small, breaks the chain of limitation. Every step expands your possibilities and strengthens the invisible muscles of resilience and belief. You must act with intention. Every decision, every effort, every choice must align with the life you are creating. Half-hearted attempts yield half-hearted results. Fully committed action, however, generates momentum that cannot be stopped. You are capable of more than you realize because the barriers you face are not as formidable as the potential inside you. When you act consistently, your fear begins to lose its grip. Doubt becomes a tool to measure your readiness, and obstacles become signals pointing to where growth is needed most. Imagine what your life would look like if you acted with clarity, courage, and focus in every area that matters. Imagine the confidence you would feel, the results you would create, and the momentum you would generate. That life is not a fantasy. It is the natural consequence of disciplined action taken in alignment with your purpose. Every moment you hesitate is a choice to remain in limitation. Every moment you commit to action is a declaration of your power, your potential, and your refusal to settle. The extraordinary is not built on talent alone, luck alone, or circumstance alone. It is built on relentless, focused, fearless action. Your life is waiting for you to step forward, to move, to act with intention and courage. Today, the question is simple. Will you allow yourself to take the steps that will change everything, or will you wait for someone else to give you permission to live the life you were born to create? The choice is yours, and it begins now. Discipline is the engine that turns potential into reality. Inspiration alone is fleeting, and motivation is fragile. It rises and falls with circumstance, but discipline is steady. It is the quiet force that moves you forward when excitement fades, when doubt creeps in, and when every fiber of your being wants to stop. True transformation requires daily commitment, unwavering consistency, and the courage to keep going when progress feels invisible. Every expert, every achiever, every person who has built a life that commands respect and fulfillment did not do so by relying on luck or perfect timing. They built it through the relentless practice of doing what needed to be done, regardless of how they felt in the moment. The mind naturally resists discipline because it fears effort, discomfort, and change. But the moment you push past that resistance, the moment you act despite the voice of hesitation, you create a momentum that compounds exponentially. Small, consistent actions shape habits. Habits shape identity. Identity shapes destiny. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you are destined to become. Without it, even the most brilliant ideas and the boldest intentions remain nothing more than wishes. With it, every day becomes a building block, every challenge becomes a proving ground, and every setback becomes an opportunity to reinforce your strength and resolve. Imagine waking up each day with the clarity to act with purpose, the focus to stay on course, and the tenacity to push through obstacles without giving in to doubt or distraction. That is the power of discipline. That is the foundation of extraordinary achievement, and is available to you here and now. The moment you decide that consistency matters more than comfort, that progress matters more than temporary ease, that mastery matters more than approval or recognition. Discipline does not mean the absence of struggle. It means acting in spite of it. It means choosing what is difficult today because it creates freedom, opportunity, and fulfillment tomorrow. Your brain and body will resist. Your emotions will fluctuate. The world may even push back, but the person who masters discipline learns to use resistance as fuel, challenge as direction, and struggle as a sign that growth is occurring. Every repetition, every commitment, every disciplined choice compounds into results that are undeniable and irreversible. You do not need motivation to start. You need commitment. You do not need the perfect plan. You need the courage to act and the discipline to persist. Every moment you invest in disciplined action builds an identity of power, resilience, and unstoppable momentum. The extraordinary life you desire is not a matter of chance. It is the inevitable result of consistent, intentional effort sustained over time. You hold the power to create it. The question is whether you will embrace discipline as your ally, whether you will let it carry you through fear, fatigue, and uncertainty, and whether you will refuse to surrender to the temporary comfort that keeps you small. Today, decide that you will. Decide that you will honor your potential with relentless consistency, unwavering commitment, and unshakable discipline. Nothing else can match its transformative power. Focus is the weapon that transforms intention into reality. The world is filled with distractions, noise, and endless demands on your energy. Every notification, every interruption, every pull away from what matters threatens to dilute your power and scatter your energy. But mastery, achievement, and transformation are born from concentrated effort. When you direct your mind, your attention, and your actions toward a single objective, the universe begins to align with your purpose. Science confirms that the brain performs at its highest level when attention is focused. Multitasking is a myth. Divided energy produces mediocrity, while undivided focus produces excellence. Every great accomplishment, every breakthrough, every life-changing transformation was achieved by someone who refused to allow their attention to drift. Focus is not just about productivity. It's about protecting your mind, your energy, and your potential from the chaos that seeks to dilute it. It is the commitment to prioritize what matters most, even when everything else screams for your time and energy. Imagine the power of acting on a single, compelling objective with absolute clarity. Imagine the speed, the precision, and the depth of impact you could achieve. That is the power of focus. Your mind is a magnet. It draws to itself what you consistently allow it to dwell on. If you let fear, doubt, and distraction dominate your thoughts, you will create a life that mirrors them. But if you choose focus, if you commit your mind to what is meaningful, purposeful, and transformative, everything else begins to fall into place. Focus eliminates confusion, indecision, and hesitation. It amplifies effort, strengthens discipline, and accelerates results. Every time you resist distraction, every time you refuse to give your attention to what does not serve your higher purpose, you are building power that compounds invisibly, yet irreversibly. The extraordinary life you desire is not built by spreading yourself thin. It is built by aligning your energy, time, and intention toward the things that matter most, consistently, relentlessly, and without apology. Focus sharpens your vision, clarifies your priorities, and empowers you to act with confidence, speed, and precision. Your potential is limitless, but only when it is concentrated, directed, and protected. The world will attempt to pull you in 100 directions, to fragment your attention, to weaken your resolve. That is natural. Your task is to remain immovable in your focus, unwavering in your commitment, and relentless in your pursuit of what truly matters. The life that others only dream of is waiting for you to claim it. The power to achieve it lies not in resources, not in luck, not in circumstance, but in the clarity, consistency, and intensity of your focus. Today, choose to cut through the noise, choose to protect your energy, choose to direct your mind with precision. Focus is not optional. It is the decisive factor between a life of mediocrity and a life of extraordinary achievement. Claim it, guard it, let it shape every decision, every action, and every result you create from this moment forward. Patience is the silent force behind every extraordinary achievement. It is the ability to endure, to persist, and to remain committed when results are invisible, delayed, or uncertain. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, patience has become rare, yet it is essential. The greatest transformations, the deepest growth, and the most profound successes do not happen overnight. They are forged through consistent effort, repeated discipline, and unwavering focus applied over time. Every step you take toward your goal, no matter how small, compounds in ways you cannot immediately see. The mind naturally wants immediate reward, instant validation, and quick wins. But the truth is that lasting change requires time, endurance, and faith in the process. Impatience creates frustration, doubt, and distraction. It pushes you to quit too soon, to abandon the effort before momentum builds. Patience, on the other hand, strengthens your resilience, sharpens your judgment, and deepens your commitment. Every moment you resist the urge to give up, every time you endure the discomfort of delayed results, you are reinforcing the neural pathways of persistence, determination, and confidence. Your mind begins to expect progress, even when it is invisible. Your actions become deliberate, aligned with the long-term vision of who you are becoming. The extraordinary life you desire is not built in a single day, nor through fleeting bursts of effort. It is built through patience, consistent application of your energy toward the things that matter most. Every expert, every pioneer, every person who leaves a lasting impact has understood this principle. They do not quit when the first obstacle appears. They do not abandon the vision when results are delayed. They persist, they endure, and they remain committed to the work that others refuse to do. Imagine approaching each challenge, each delay, and each moment of uncertainty with the calm confidence that comes from knowing every effort counts, even when invisible. That mindset transforms setbacks into lessons, obstacles into guidance, and time into your greatest ally. Patience is not passive. It is active endurance, deliberate persistence, and unwavering belief in your potential. It is the understanding that the forces of growth are often invisible, but unstoppable when nurtured with consistency and focus. Every time you practice patience, you are investing in the compounding power of your efforts, laying the foundation for results that will eventually be undeniable. Your life will not conform to your wishes overnight, but it will respond powerfully to your commitment, your focus, and your perseverance. The moments that feel slow, uncertain, or discouraging are exactly the moments that determine the trajectory of your destiny. Patience transforms struggle into strength, delay into preparation, and effort into mastery. Today, decide to embrace it. Decide to persist when the world urges you to quit. Decide to trust the process, to honor your journey, and to invest in the invisible growth that precedes every visible result. In patience lies the power to transform, the power to endure, and the power to create a life that will astonish even your own expectations. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. Every breakthrough, every act of transformation begins the moment you confront what terrifies you most and choose to move forward anyway. Fear is relentless. It whispers doubt, magnifies risk, and convinces you to stay within the boundaries of comfort and safety. But fear is not your enemy. It is your compass, pointing directly at what you must confront to grow. Every person who has achieved greatness has felt fear, yet they refuse to let it dictate their actions. They understood that courage is cultivated in the moment of choice, in the decision to act despite uncertainty, and in the commitment to persist even when the stakes feel overwhelming. Your mind will attempt to convince you that hesitation is wisdom, that retreat is safety, and that doubt is reason. That is the deception of fear. True wisdom, true power, comes from recognizing the illusion and acting anyway. The biology of fear is real. It triggers physical tension, heightened alertness, and the instinct to withdraw. But these responses are temporary. What is permanent is the transformation that occurs when you act in defiance of them. Every courageous step you take reshapes your identity, rewires your neural pathways, and strengthens your capacity to confront the next challenge. Courage compounds. The first step is the hardest. The first act of bravery creates momentum that makes the next act easier, and the next act easier still. Soon, fear loses its grip, and your life expands in ways that once seemed impossible. Imagine approaching every obstacle with the clarity that comes from knowing fear is not a signal to stop, but a signal to rise. Imagine the confidence that develops when you repeatedly act despite doubt, uncertainty, or resistance. That is the power of courage, the ability to align action with vision, no matter what your mind and body signal. The extraordinary life you desire is not reserved for those who are fearless. It is reserved for those who confront fear again and again, who refuse to let it define their boundaries, and who embrace the discomfort that comes with stepping beyond the familiar. Courage is active, not passive. It requires choice, commitment, and unwavering belief in your ability to overcome. It is the force that turns hesitation into momentum, obstacles into opportunities, and doubt into clarity. Every time you act with courage, you expand the limits of what is possible for yourself. You send a message to your mind and your body that you are capable, resilient, and unstoppable. The world may test you, the mind may resist, and challenges will rise, but courage ensures you do not falter. Today, decide to honor the voice within that calls for action, not retreat. Decide to let courage guide your choices, strengthen your resolve, and propel you forward. Every moment you act with courage reshapes your reality, elevates your potential, and brings you closer to the extraordinary life that is waiting for you. Fear is inevitable, but courage is a choice, and that choice determines everything. Consistency is the force that transforms intention into reality. Inspiration sparks action, courage fuels it, but it is consistency that sustains it, that compounds it, that converts effort into achievement. Most people fail not because they lack talent or vision, but because they abandon their pursuit when results are slow, challenges appear, or motivation wanes. The mind craves novelty, excitement, and immediate gratification, yet life rewards those who persist when the world offers none of these comforts. Every habit you build, every action you repeat, strengthens the foundation of your success. Consistency is not about grand gestures. It is about showing up day after day with purpose, focus, and determination. It is the quiet, unrelenting commitment to your vision, regardless of how you feel in the moment, regardless of external validation, and regardless of temporary setbacks. Neuroscience confirms that repeated behavior rewires the brain, making progress automatic and resilience habitual. Each time you honor your commitment, even when it is difficult, your identity aligns with action. You begin to see yourself as the type of person who does not quit, who does not compromise, and who does not settle. This alignment transforms your reality. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable. The opportunities you once feared are now within reach. Every small, deliberate step builds momentum, creating a chain reaction of progress that cannot be stopped. Imagine waking up each day with the certainty that your actions, however incremental, are shaping a life of purpose, mastery, and extraordinary achievement. That certainty is the result of consistency, of showing up even when inspiration fades, of moving forward when progress feels invisible, of persisting when others give up. Consistency is the bridge between who you are today and who you are destined to become. It converts knowledge into skill, effort into mastery, and vision into reality. Without it, the most brilliant ideas remain unfulfilled, the most courageous actions dissipate, and the greatest potential is left unrealized. The extraordinary life you desire is not built on sporadic bursts of effort, fleeting motivation, or temporary courage. It is built on the accumulation of discipline, focused, and persistent action over time. Every habit you cement, every choice you honor, and every repetition you execute compounds invisibly until it becomes unstoppable momentum. The world will test your patience, your resolve, and your discipline, but consistency ensures that you do not falter. It guarantees that even in the face of uncertainty, doubt, and discomfort, your progress continues. Today, commit to consistency. Commit to showing up no matter what. Commit to taking the small, deliberate actions that, when compounded, create extraordinary results. The life you envision is not a matter of chance. It is the inevitable outcome of discipline, unrelenting, and consistent effort. Your future depends not on fleeting motivation, but on your ability to persist. Every choice to act, every moment you refuse to quit, strengthens the foundation of the life you are creating. Belief is the invisible force that determines everything you will accomplish. It is the lens through which you see your world, the energy that fuels your actions, and the foundation upon which your reality is built. Without belief, no amount of effort, courage, or discipline can create lasting transformation. Your mind cannot act on possibilities it does not accept as true. Doubt limits potential. Fear clouds vision. Hesitation fragments energy. But when belief is cultivated, it becomes unstoppable. Belief is not blind optimism. It is the unwavering conviction that what you desire is possible, attainable, and within your capacity to achieve. Science confirms that mindset shapes outcomes. The brain aligns with your beliefs, scanning for evidence to prove them right, shaping your perception, your decisions, and ultimately your reality. Every time you doubt yourself, the world mirrors that doubt. Every time you reinforce belief in your potential, the world responds with alignment, opportunity, and clarity. Imagine approaching every challenge, every goal, every decision with the certainty that success is not just possible, but inevitable if you act with purpose and commitment. That certainty transforms hesitation into momentum, doubt into action, and fear into opportunity. Belief fuels perseverance when results are delayed. It sustains courage when challenges loom. It strengthens focus when distractions arise. Without it, the smallest obstacle feels insurmountable. With it, even the most difficult circumstances become catalysts for growth. The extraordinary life you seek is not reserved for the talented, the lucky, or the well-connected. It is reserved for those who cultivate an unshakable belief in themselves, in their vision, and in their capacity to act despite uncertainty. Belief amplifies everything else: discipline, focus, patience, courage, and consistency, turning these qualities into a force that cannot be resisted. Every action you take becomes more powerful, every decision more precise, every step more aligned with your ultimate potential. But belief requires commitment. It must be consciously nurtured through self-talk, visualization, and deliberate reinforcement. Every thought of doubt must be met with a thought of affirmation. Every fear must be challenged by the certainty of your capacity. Every setback must be reframed as a signal to deepen your conviction rather than weaken it. When you fully embrace belief, your identity shifts. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, a follower of opportunity, or a passive observer of life. You see yourself as the creator of your reality, the architect of your destiny, and the force capable of shaping your world. The power to achieve, to overcome, and to transform does not exist outside of you. It exists inside you, waiting for your permission to be fully realized. Today, choose belief. Choose to reinforce the truth that you are capable of more than you have allowed yourself to see. Choose to see every obstacle, every delay, and every challenge through the lens of possibility rather than limitation. Belief is the spark that ignites action, the fuel that sustains momentum, and the foundation upon which an extraordinary life is built. Claim it, protect it, and let it guide every thought, every action, and every decision from this moment forward. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. Every person you spend time with, every space you occupy, every influence you allow into your mind either elevates you or diminishes you. The world is filled with noise, opinions, distractions, negativity that can subtly erode your focus, weaken your confidence, and dilute your ambition. If you do not consciously curate what you allow into your life, your energy will be consumed by forces that do not serve your growth. Psychology shows that people are heavily influenced by their surroundings, habits, behaviors, and even thoughts are contagious. To achieve the extraordinary, you must align your environment with your vision. Surround yourself with individuals who inspire, challenge, and push you toward excellence. Seek spaces that foster clarity, focus, and energy. Remove what drains you, distracts you, or reinforces doubt. Your mind is a garden. Every influence is a seed. What you nurture will grow. If you allow negativity, fear, and distraction to dominate your environment, your growth is stunted. If you cultivate positivity, discipline, and focus, your potential flourishes. Imagine the impact of consistently immersing yourself in an environment that reinforces your strength, ambition, and clarity. Imagine the speed at which your skills develop, your mindset strengthens, and your results multiply. That is the power of intentional environment. Your surroundings are not passive. They are active participants in your transformation. Every element of your environment either supports your growth or hinders it. The extraordinary life you seek cannot coexist with complacency, distraction, or toxicity. It requires deliberate selection, constant vigilance, and unwavering commitment to what nourishes your potential. Your energy is finite. Every hour, every interaction, every exposure consumes it. Choose wisely. Invest your energy where it multiplies, not where it dissipates. The people you engage with, the media you consume, and the spaces you occupy are not neutral. They are shaping your thoughts, your beliefs, and your identity. If you want to expand, elevate, and transform, your environment must reflect that intention. Protect your focus, reinforce your discipline, and amplify your belief by surrounding yourself with what aligns with your highest vision. Your environment can either accelerate your growth or anchor you to mediocrity. The choice is yours. This is not about escaping reality. It is about curating the conditions in which your best self can emerge. Every successful, fulfilled, and extraordinary person understands this principle. They manage their energy, their focus, and their influences as deliberately as they manage their actions. You must do the same. Today, examine your surroundings, your influences, and your interactions. Eliminate what undermines you. Prioritize what empowers you. Surround yourself with clarity, courage, and momentum. When you align your environment with your ambition, you remove resistance, amplify your focus, and accelerate your transformation. Your surroundings are not a backdrop. They are the foundation of the life you are building. Guard it, shape it, and let it reinforce every action, every thought, and every belief as you step fully into the extraordinary life waiting for you. Your habits determine the trajectory of your life. Every choice you make, every action you repeat builds the framework of your future, whether you are aware of it or not. Habits are invisible forces that shape your identity, your energy, and your results. They are the patterns your mind and body follow automatically, often without conscious thought. The people who achieve the extraordinary understand this truth and use it to their advantage. They do not leave their lives to chance or rely on fleeting motivation. They design their habits deliberately, aligning daily actions with long-term vision, knowing that excellence is the sum of consistent, purposeful behavior repeated over time. Neuroscience shows that repeated actions create neural pathways that make certain behaviors automatic. This is why small, consistent choices matter more than occasional bursts of effort. Every habit you cultivate either moves you closer to your potential or keeps you trapped in limitation. If you allow complacency, distraction, and delay to dominate your routines, your life will mirror them. If you consciously reinforce focus, discipline, courage, and action, your life expands accordingly. Imagine the power of living each day governed by habits that align with your highest vision. Imagine waking up automatically focused, disciplined, and committed to growth without having to negotiate with willpower or motivation. That is the compounding force of powerful habits. Habits shape identity. Who you become is a direct reflection of the behaviors you repeat, the choices you make daily, and the routines you protect. Temporary effort produces temporary results. Sustainable excellence produces permanent transformation. This is why habit formation is not optional. It is essential. Every extraordinary achievement, every breakthrough, and every life of impact is the result of deliberate, repeated action, performed consistently until it becomes second nature. Your current results are the product of past habits. Your future results will be the product of the habits you commit to now. Small actions, repeated over time, compound into monumental change. The extraordinary life you desire is not achieved by chance. It is achieved through disciplined, intentional, and consistent habits that reinforce your focus, courage, and belief every single day. Your habits act as invisible forces shaping your destiny. They determine how you think, how you act, and how you respond to challenges. The difference between average and extraordinary lives is rarely talent or circumstance. It is the relentless commitment to habits that amplify potential and eliminate distraction. Today, examine your routines. Identify the patterns that elevate you and those that hold you back. Reinforce the behaviors that align with your highest vision. Remove those that undermine your energy, focus, or momentum. The life you want is a direct consequence of what you do consistently. Your habits are your blueprint. Your future is the reflection of what you repeat today. Design it, honor it, and protect it relentlessly. Every action, every choice, every repetition compounds toward the extraordinary.